Hey guys, it's Mary again. So today I'm coming to you with a book review. And this book review I actually had on my TBR a few weeks ago, and I finished it in like 5 days. And it's not something I'm proud of, but it's something that happened. So let's get on with the show. So it is Splintered by A.G. Howard. And if you don't know what this is a darker Alice in Wonderland retelling. It is about Alyssa Gardner. Her great 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 grandmother is Alice Little, the famous Alice Little from Who Dreamed Wonderland, Who Went to Wonderland. Whatever you want to believe is the story. So Alyssa can hear bugs. She can hear like their sounds. Her mother is locked up in like a loony bin because she kept gabbling on, and she had hurt her daughter by accident when she was trying to get Alyssa away from something. I'm going to try not to spoil her mother's backstory too much, or Alyssa's backstory too much, because I want this to not be very summary. Like, I want it to be more of what I liked and what I didn't. There wasn't very much I didn't like about this book. I gave it a 5 out of 5 on Goodreads because I read it in 5 days. I just couldn't put it down. It was that good. And after I finished it, I immediately bought the ebook A Moth in a Mirror, I believe it is. I believe it's called. It is Morpheus watching Jebediah going into his memories. My favorite character in this is Morpheus. Okay? Morpheus is the bomb. I love Alyssa too. I hate Jeb. We're not going to get into Jeb. I think Jeb thinks he's entitled in every single way. He really hates everything not having to do with Alyssa. And I hate that. I hate that Jeb cared more about a girl who was dating than his own best friend. And I did not like how in the story, when he and Alyssa were planning to do something, he just went and backtracked on her. He just went and flipped to her father's side about not going somewhere that they had planned on wanting to go. And that's not what you're supposed to do, especially when you're in love with your best friend. But I love Morpheus. Morpheus is Alyssa's kind of old friend. He kind of took her to Wonderland when she was little. They were really good playmates. Morpheus is from Wonderland. He is this weird looking guy. He has blue hair. He looks really odd. He wears hats a lot. And he altogether isn't that good a guy. I mean, he has good intentions, but they're not always in Alyssa's or anybody else's best interests. It's just in his. He's more of a self-centered kind of guy, which is what makes him such an interesting character. He has this love and affection and history with Alyssa, and he wants her to be accepting of that. He wants her to be accepting of everything about Wonderland. He wants Alyssa to basically also be with him, but be all that she can be, while also taking care of his own interests. Jeb, on the other hand, just wants to get out of Wonderland. He cares about Alyssa. He wants Alyssa in safety, which is something Morpheus is iffy on. But Jeb just cares about getting out of Wonderland. He does not care about anything else except for getting him and Alyssa out of Wonderland. The only thing I really admire about Jeb is his affection for Alyssa. More than just the characters and kind of the romance of it, I like how this is a darker retelling. I don't really read dark retellings that much, if at all dark stories. Like, I'm fine with some horror stories. I don't really like horror. Horror is just this awful, awful, awful genre for me because I hate being scared. And this is the girl who will watch Ghost Adventures at like 10 o'clock at night. And I'm just like, why did I watch this at 10 o'clock at night? Asylum by Madeline Rue wasn't that bad. So, like, even with the creepy pictures, I could be fine with that series. That is a great series. I've only read the first two. I want to read her new one, and I also want to read the third one. So some horror I'm okay with. This isn't more horror. This isn't as horror-y as let's say Peculiar Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. This is more just dark, and I really love retellings. It is probably my second or third favorite genre, which is one of the reasons I picked this up. But the aspect of how Wonderland is kind of dark, like very, very dark. It's not what Alice pictured. It's not what is in Lewis Carroll's story. The White Rabbit is not called the White Rabbit. He's called something else, and he is like all bones. He's a skeleton. He has a creepy face. He is not at all what Alice invented when she was, what was the story, when she was 8, 10, something like that. But it's really interesting to see how, like, you get a different perspective on Wonderland. And it's even more interesting when you go back and you watch Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland, because that's what I did. I loved this book so much. I had a day off on Sunday from work, so I watched Alice in Wonderland, the Tim Burton version, and it's really interesting that I don't want to say connections, but like in there they say, oh, Alice might have called it Wonderland at one time, and it's called Underland now because Alice heard it wrong or something. And so in this, there's a skate park named Underland. So I found this really, really, really interesting. I find it that not only was there great character development, that the twists and turns this book took were some of the greatest I've ever read. I don't want to say greatest, but they were some great twists. I don't want to say they were as great as Harry Potter twists, because Harry Potter twists are like out of this world. But they were just some like great twists, and it just kept your mind going like, where is this going? What is this doing? And I just feel like this is going to be a great series. I love the triangle that came out of it, like I said earlier. I do not like Jeb. I think she should end up with Morpheus. We'll see if that happens. But I really like the person that Alyssa is becoming, and that I hope she does become in the next I want to say 2.5 books, because I know there's a 1.5 Unhinged is the second book, and then there's Ensnared is the third book, and Untamed is book 3.5, and I'm not sure why there's an after one. I'm not sure why there's an ebook after the last book, but okay. Um, but I'm going to be interested to see where this goes, and I'm going to definitely put up book talks of Unhinged and Ensnared. In the meantime, I'm going to be reblogging everything about this book or this series on Tumblr, on Twitter, and I'm just going to keep talking about it again and again and again. And I highly recommend this book. I originally did not want to read it. I'd been spending like years looking at it in the bookstore being like, nah, I'm not going to read that. And then finally I kind of broke down and I was just like, okay, I'm going to read this, and I regret not reading it sooner. And for the most part, it's because I really wanted to read Roseblood, which is A.G. Howard's version, or not version, but like own take on Phantom of the Opera, which I also have, which I also am going to read because I love A.G. Howard now. So I'm going to read their books because I love A.G. Howard now. I would highly recommend this book if you're looking for something dark, if you're looking for something retelling, like a fairy tale retelling or something. Or just if you're in the mood for a really like interesting story, this would be a great way to start off with. Even if you don't know the like original lore or something, you can pick it up pretty quick. So yeah, I will put this video up. Tell me if you've read this series or at least Splintered alone. Tell me how you liked it. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye!